Uh, the first one starts at verse 33. Um, Verse 33, in the synagogue there was a man possessed by a spirit of an unclean demon, and he cried out with a loud voice, let us alone! What business do we have with each other, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God. So Jesus rebuked him and told him to be quiet. So he cast him out. And then later on in verse 41, there's another. We start at verse 40. While the sun was setting, all those who had any disease came to him, and he laid his hands on them, and they were healed. Demons also were coming out of many, shouting, you are the Son of God. But he rebuked them. He would not allow them to speak, for they knew that he was the Christ. Funny how the religious folks that were in charge at the time couldn't see what was right in front of them, and the evilest thing in the world, they knew exactly who Jesus was because they were afraid. They knew that Jesus had commanding power over them, so they knew exactly who he was. No doubt in their minds. Okay. Now near the end, of course, more and more the Pharisees and the scribes and all them were challenging Jesus, trying to get him to mess up. And so they said, just tell us, are you the Messiah? But in John chapter 11, um, there's this episode where Jesus' good friend Lazarus dies, and he has two sisters, Mary and Martha. And Jesus kind of takes his time coming back because he knows what's to come. He's going to resurrect Lazarus from the dead, but there's an interaction between Martha and Jesus. When Jesus shows up, she runs out to him and says, if you'd have been here, my brother wouldn't have died. But in verse 27, she said to him, yes, Lord, I have believed that you are the Christ, the Son of God, even he who comes into the world. So she believes that he is the Christ. She calls it to his face because he calls himself the resurrection and the life. And so now at the crucifixion, we'll go back to the book of Matthew. There's an interesting interaction at the crucifixion with a centurion. And in chapter 27 of Matthew, verse 54, sorry. So, verse 54, now the centurion and those who were with him keeping guard over Jesus, when they saw the earthquake and the things that were happening, became very frightened, and they said, truly, this was the Son of God. So even the centurion, the heathen, the um, Gentile, believed in gods that lived on a mountain over in Italy somewhere. He was convinced. He saw everything that happened, and his spontaneous utterance was, surely this was the Son of God. Nobody else has that kind of power. So, and we're going to end, because there's a lot that we could go over. It's like we're just fulfilling all this prophecy. This is going to be who this is. This is the Son of David. There's when Jesus is going toward the cross, at one point, there's a blind man who follows after him, and he cries out, Jesus, Son of David, help me. And he does, of course. So he's called the Son of David at one time on his way through Jericho. when he was on his way up to Jerusalem. So now in John chapter 20, got a lot of flipping back and forth. John chapter 20. Those of you who've been in my Bible studies, you know that I like doing Bible aerobics. So I teach the Word in light of the Word. I don't teach extra biblical stuff. I teach the Word. So we use the Word to prop up the Word, because that's all you need. You don't need fancy lighting, apparently. You don't need blue screens, and you don't need all this kind of stuff. You just need the Word of God, and someone who doesn't stumble as much. So, all right, so John chapter 20, starting at verse 28, or around verse 28. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to start at verse 26. After 8 days, now this is after the resurrection, after 8 days, his disciples were again inside, and Thomas was with them. Jesus came, the doors having been shut, and stood in their midst. So he just poofed on them. He showed up. This is his resurrection body, which does not obey the laws of physics. Then he said to Thomas, "Reach here with your finger and see my hands, and reach here with your hand and put it into my side. Do not be unbelieving, but believing." And Thomas answered and said to him, "My Lord and my God." So Thomas says, "My Lord and my God." And Jesus says to him, "Because you have seen me, have you believed? But blessed are they who do not see and yet believe." And you can believe that Jesus is and was the Son of God. He is at the right hand of God, and he's coming back to collect his own. Okay? Be ready. Right now is the time to be ready. We really appreciate everybody who logs in and watches us. We thank you for any support that you give us, whether it be prayers or anything else. We do appreciate it. We love you, and we implore you to give your life to Christ, because I want to see you on the other side. But if I don't see you next time, I'll definitely see you on the other side. I love you. God bless.